Welcome, beautiful people, to the Sinister Hour. How are we doing tonight? I am the Sinister One, Sinister Sin, like always, here giggling and laughing and having a good time. My first segment tonight, we're going to start, it's going to be over a 4-week period, and we're going to talk about women and men wrestling together. See, I believe that women and men have equal abilities to when it comes to wrestling. Some of the great matches that I've seen has had a woman at, like China, wrestling for the Intercontinental title. I fought for the Women's Championship and lost, and it was still good. Actually, it starting out, women are going to find that they would prefer to have a man be in the ring with them if they're not experienced, because they can carry the match. And, so that's what I think that, and a lot of feds are now doing it where you have the men and women wrestling together. And it's not all about tits and ass, and where it's about actual athletic ability. Myself, I fought a couple men, and I love the matches. You get more experience, you get more appreciation of their styles and their techniques. It's a great thing. I don't want women to be discouraged about wrestling because, most women, and I'm not just saying, all of them are like that, but a lot of women, they wear these pants up the crack of their ass. They're showing their breast off. No one cares about that. It's all about going out, having a good time, showing people what you have in you. And, that is the most important thing I have to say. If you go out there and you're having a good time, it doesn't matter if you're naked. It doesn't matter if you're fully dressed with coats on miles high. You're going to get appreciated for your talent. I would much rather be known for my talent than my ass. It's just me. And I'm sorry that I speak frank about things. It's just that's me. I have one way of thinking, and I might be wrong. I honestly, but do I think I am? No, because like I said, lots of feds are now intertwining the women and the men because they can put a hell of a match on. I have not seen a bad match with a woman and a man. My first match was with a guy, and it was great. I got my ass kicked, but it was great. So never be afraid and worry about judgment, about it. I'm just, at this point, I get so tired of people like on WWE. They're not there because of their ability to wrestle. They're there for their looks. And it's a sad, thing to have to say, but basically that's what it is. I mean, look at the Great Khan. She actually has clothes on and she can kick men's ass. It's the ability and the mindset and the heart that will carry you through the match, and you will have a great match. Whether you win or lose, you're going to enjoy it. And we need more women wrestlers out there. There's nothing, these days, a lot of women are actually getting the training and getting really good at it. There's a lot of great indie women wrestlers who do a hell of a lot better job than the WWE girls because they're actually putting their bodies out there, doing the work, preparing for their matches, and I respect them for that. It's always a great thing though when you have a promoter like Mark Savior, who open-armedly, if a person has an idea and they come to him, he is willing to do it as long as it's not something that someone else is doing that night. All judgment aside, I would be more worried about hiring someone who didn't have the stamina, or couldn't, or is very slow on their feet, or looks like they're going to hurt somebody. And I would have women wrestlers come in who are very trained. We have a really, really good work on any circuit. She does hardcore wrestling, and I have to give it to her. She is fantastic. I have not ever seen a woman wrestle like her, and she has so much heart and soul. Shimmer is another vet that there have a bunch of good wrestlers from, and my great friend Gemini. Well, we were enemies at first, but now we're good friends. She is a very good worker. Lady Mary made, I don't even know why she calls herself Demon Mistress. She has a great persona, and I can see promise in her like nobody's business. As for a green person, get as much experience as you can. Go to the places, call the promoters in your local area, call them and let them know your ideas. Make a videotape. It kind of helps to know what you've done in the past. Bring your gear. Make sure. And please, wrestlers, wear gear to the ring. When you do not wear gear to the ring, you look dumb as shit. You make the match look dumb, because I can understand if you are like homeless and you can afford it, but I know for a fact that wrestling gear is very affordable. If you're ready to wrestle, you're ready to get your gear. Buy a singlet, buy anything, be professional, wear wrestling boots, wear pads. There's things you can do to make yourself look more professional. You go out in your street clothes and people are not going to take you seriously. I mean, I'm a co-promoter myself, and I cannot look at a person with regular, pants and shirt on and say, okay, you're being a serious person. It doesn't work that way. You look like you're a backyarder with your gear. And a lot of promoters are going to look at you and say no and pass on you. Even if you got great talent, a lot of promoters want to see that, that's something, what makes you the person you are, the person who makes you be a great wrestler, the whole persona, the gimmick, everything. It has to be there. You just can't go out and say, okay, I can wrestle, and go out and not be able to do a promo, or not be able to have a gear or something like that. There's a lot of things psychologically that you have to have down. It's not easy at all. I will grant that to anybody. Wrestling takes years and years and years and years to finesse and get your persona down, crisp in, something that people know you by, and that it works. And believe me, even after 13 years, there's still things that I learned. You never, and this is that sport that you never forget, but you're always learning new ideas as well. So, the summer I'm gonna, with the help of Mark Xavier, is gonna open a women's training school, and I want to see, how many people out there who has the heart and soul to be in the ring, to give it their all, to do anything it takes. I'm not gonna say it's not gonna be hard, or it's gonna be like not fun. believe me, if you're good, I will know it. If you're bad, I will not keep you around. I'll cut you. If I think that in 2 weeks, 3 weeks that you're not catching on to the basics, then there's, those people are not going to be able to make it. And it's sad that you have to do so. But I would rather cut someone than someone to get hurt, because later on a promoter puts them on and they think they're trained and they're not really trained. Also, promoters, I think it's a very good idea that before you book people, that you have some kind of aspiration of what these people can actually do. Like the very first thing I would do when I'm booking a show, or John, or Mark Xavier would do, is let me see proof that you can wrestle. Let me see some of your matches. Where can I find them? Or get in the ring and show them that you can wrestle. I mean, and I'm not dogging anybody, but there are people in the indie wrestling biz who cannot wrestle, cannot take a back bump, who cannot lock up, there's a lot of people like that. And it saddens me because it's such a great sport. And people are ruining it because they're not willing to try. They think, oh, because I watch WWE and because I play the WWE game, I'm trained. Or I go play in a backyard and no ring, and it's supposed to be something wonderful. No. Indie wrestling has purpose. We may never get to the point where we'll be, oh yeah, we're going to be so popular, blah, blah, blah. No, it's about heart and soul in wrestling. If it was all about wrestling and it was all about, look at me, my husband would have went to TNA when he got invited, when Jeff Jarrett ran it, but he didn't, because there's no difference in between a WWE star or a TNA star, a WCW star, a ECW star, SmackDown star. We're all doing the same thing. The only difference is there's a lot of great indie wrestlers out there. And when you watch them compared to what you watch WWE, you can see the mistakes. It's cartoon. It's fiction. It's, a promoter. A lot of them will say, okay, this is exactly what you're going to do and how you're going to finish it, blah, blah, blah. On the other hand, I think it should be your choice with your partner. You know the ending, but you yourself should decide whether or not what moves you're going to use. Make sure no one else in the locker room is using them, and make it be your own. Because if it's not your own, you're not going to like it, and if you don't like it, it's going to end up being a terrible match. That's all it is to it, And make sure that you have open contact at all times with who you're wrestling. Never be afraid to re-ask if you forget something, or if you're not secure enough in the match, that you go to the promoter and ask for a new match. It's a part of the business. And so tonight I was thinking that everybody can ask questions of what it takes to be a wrestler, what it takes to be in the indie world, and any other questions like, do we really get hurt, or are we fake, or things like that. I don't mind answering. I have been in this business 13 years, and believe me, you do get hurt. Several broken bones and a chair shot to my own self, and you do get hurt. It doesn't feel very good, but you still get hurt. So next week when I do my show, I will answer your questions live, and that way you can get your answers to every question, or you can follow me on Facebook, Cynthia Reeser Moore. It's very easy. I don't mind talking to people, but don't let anybody ever tear you down and think that you're not capable and that you're not just as good as anybody else. And you make sure that you always know that you have a heart and soul, and that as long as you use those two things in the ring, you can never do wrong. So, and at this, my end point is go out, enjoy yourself during each match, and kick some ass. And as always, the Sinister One loves her beautiful fans. Bye. See you next week. Toodaloo.